Before we get started today, I want to make an announcement. Leaving the Theater is starting a movie club. Beginning in July, on the first Wednesday of every month, me and an esteemed panel of guests will gather on Twitter Spaces. We'll discuss recent movies, television, and streaming series that we've loved and what we're looking forward to seeing in the month to come. This will be a time for folks to discuss the reviews we've done, defend their favorites, challenge my opinions, and more generally, share our love of film, television, and streaming properties. And you, yes, you, listening right now, will have the chance to ask questions, share your opinion, and join in the discussion. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at OItsBigRon, that's at OHITSBIGRON for more information and the link to join us on Twitter Spaces. And as the date gets closer, we'll include the link in the show notes as well. I hope you could join us. And with that, let's start the show. Notable basketball superfan Adam Sandler is back with a love letter to his favorite sport in Hustle. In it, Sandler stars as NBA scout Stanley Sugarman, who travels the world looking for the best undiscovered potential players, all the while hoping to someday coach a team of his own. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm on the couch. All right, this is Ronald, and I am on the couch after watching Hustle, directed by Jeremiah Zagar, written by Taylor Materne and Will Fetters, starring Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah, Ben Foster, Juancho Hernangomez, Robert Duvall, Heidi Garner, Anthony Edwards, Kenny Smith, and Jaleel White. Also a large parade, a host, if you will, of NBA stars graced the screen. So many so that they actually did a highlight at the end of the movie that showed all of the stars, all the NBA stars from their various playing careers. So it was just like this beautiful highlight reel of all these basketball players playing ball. It was like really nice to watch. Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, who only had like 1 second cameos, and you got Luka Doncic, you got Trae Young. So many people in this movie. Very entertaining to see that. The movie is about Adam Sandler, who plays Stanley Sugarman, a basketball scout who aspires to be a coach someday. So he wants to be a coach, and he feels like he's stuck in this job where he has to travel the world. And, you know, they depict it as being nice, like you're in 5-star hotels, only the best, first-class flights. But, of course, he's doing all this while trying to find players for the Philadelphia 76ers. This movie is very much a love letter to Philly and the 76ers. Anybody who loves Philly basketball, you're going to love this movie. Lots of little Easter eggs for you, including the music. The needle drops in this movie. Lots of good rap songs. I hear Freeway in there. Beatty Siegel is in there. Just a lot of good, a lot of very good music from Philly-based rappers in this movie. The movie's good. It ends up being, you know, this. It ends up being a story about how this particular basketball scout ends up basically he finds this unknown talent in Spain, played by Juancho Hernangomez. His name is Bo Cruz. He finds this talent and through many obstacles begins whipping him into shape to get him ready to go play for the NBA. And honestly, it's it's very much a romantic comedy. It's very much a romance about basketball, and not in two people falling in love, but more like two people trying to accomplish a goal, but also, relying on each other in order to get there, and kind of facing what seemingly insurmountable obstacles that just keep coming up in their way. And they're working together to do it. But it has the beats of a romantic comedy, guy meets girl, then, things are going well, and there's a montage, and they think they're going to get there, and then a big lie is exposed, and there's an airport scene. And then they gotta figure out what they're gonna do at the end, and at the end they end up both getting what they want in whatever way that may seem. So it has very much the beats of a romantic comedy, but the romance is about basketball. It's about playing the game. It's about loving the game. I am here for this version of Adam Sandler. I was a big fan of him in Uncut Gems. I thought it was an absolute robbery that he did not even get nominated for Best Actor for that film. I thought he was doing some fantastic acting in that movie, and I think he was doing some fantastic acting in this movie. I am here for this Adam Sandler. I think people talk about him in Punch Drunk Love as one of his more serious roles, and he is yet another comedian who is really finding his stride as he gets older. He's wise. He's in this movie. He's a little world weary. You can tell he has a past and he's dealing with that. And Adam Sandler does a lot of face acting. He does a lot just with his face that is really convincing you that this man is having, he's thinking about what's happening. It matters to him, or he's thinking about his past, or he's concerned about his past, or he has some sort of burden. He does that well with his face. And for this man who, we're talking Happy Gilmore here, we're talking The Water Boy. For this guy to be making movies like this in his later years is just, I think it's fantastic, and I'm here for it. I'm here for everyone showing their range, and for him to just not, and it's funny because him being serious in a movie is not far off from he's silly in all these other movies, but all of his movies had heart. You were always rooting for Adam Sandler, and there's really no difference here, or even in a movie like Uncut Gems, where Adam Sandler basically, he can't get out of his own way, and we're still kind of rooting for him. All right, come on, do the right thing, please get there, you can do it. We're still kind of rooting for him in this, so I really enjoyed it. And he's married to Queen Latifah in the movie, and they have a daughter. And, at first when I read the cast listing, I'm like, well, where's the chemistry here? But they pulled it off. Watching them interact with one another, they seemed like a couple who had been together for a while, who love each other, who want to be together. It just, it's hard to explain, because it wasn't like, ooh, they steaming up the screen, as much as these two people love each other. They've been through it together, and they support each other. And Queen Latifah is carrying a lot of the burden of being the long-suffering wife who is supporting her husband, who is rooting for her husband throughout the movie. And I really enjoyed that. I think that this movie, there is a montage in the movie, and sports movies have to have montages, and I think the montage, it goes a little long, and it's based in Philly, so you can anticipate at least one ode to Rocky being in this movie. It went on a little long, and I think some of the pacing parts of the movie, there were parts where, I felt like it went longer than it should, or there was even some some execution details where it comes, because we know where it's going. We know what's going to happen in this movie. When you start from the beginning, you're pretty much, you're convinced, I know how this is going to end. This is a movie not setting up for us to watch someone fail. And we recognize that. But it seems like there was a few parts in the movie where I'm like, I know where this is going, but y'all are teasing me. And you're trying to act like I don't, and I don't really appreciate that. And I think they could have done a better job of just kind of getting to their point. And that's why this isn't a 4-star movie, because I think if they would have worked with the execution and the sequencing of the film, and when I say that, I think some people will recognize it as you're watching it. You'll feel like, man, just get to the point. I feel like, just, get to where he's going. We know where he's going. Let's just get him there. And I think there's a way to create that sort of tension without it, in ways it just felt kind of cheap. It just kind of felt like they were they were teasing us for a while, and not in the way that makes me feel like that they earned it by any means. Especially if you like get to a point of the movie where I'm just like, well, if that's where you were going, then why did you even act like that's not where we were going, you know? So I think that kind of takes away from it from me. And a few times it was just like a little bit corny around the edges. But this is a good Sunday afternoon movie. Like, watch it with dad over the weekend. You know, go watch the movie with him. Put this on. He'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it with him. It'll be a nice little movie. You'll get up and you'll be like, that was nice. And you'll think about Adam Sandler doing a good job acting in films like this. So I think it was a good movie. It wasn't great. I think wait. It was a great movie, but it wasn't. I don't think it was great enough to rise to the level of 4 stars. So I'm going to give it a strong 3.75. 3.75 of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I would watch it again. Just to even watch all the cameos again, I would watch it again. Really enjoyed it. And I think you might too. And it's on Netflix, so it's not hard to find. And with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of Oh It's Big Round Studios. The show is mixed by Thomas Tyra of Bias Studios. Thank you, Thomas. Show art from Katie Helm. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. To find out more information about Hustle, check out our show notes for details. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at OHitsBigRon. That's at OHITSBIGRON. You can find out more about this show and other Oh It's Big Ron Studios shows by following us on Instagram at Oh It's Big Ron Studios and on Twitter at Oh It's Big Ron Stew. That's STEW. Leaving the Theater will be back soon, but until then, I'll be here on the couch.